In Brazil, they do not speak English, they speak Portuguese. And then you find the same phenomenon in the Caribbeans. So it's very important for us to understand that we have people of African descent throughout the Caribbeans and South America. Let me just take maybe two as illustrations, or maybe 2 or 3 as illustration. Let's start first of all with Haiti. Haiti became a black republic, the first black republic in the Western Hemisphere in 1804. Toussaint Louverture, Desmond and Boukman, Dessalines rather than Boukman, fought against Napoleon's finest army and created a black republic. That movement in Haiti sort of inspired the abolitionist movement, at least the rebellions on the part of people such as Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, and they always tried to keep Africans who were in captivity in North America from knowing about the Haitian Revolution because they did not want it to inspire. But nevertheless, people such as Nat Turner and others got wind of what had happened in Haiti, and they began to revolt and start insurrections. So Haiti represents a flashpoint for that whole understanding of the Caribbean. Another country that we should also know, in Haiti, they speak Creole and French because there was the last colonizer were the French. At first, they were colonized by the Spanish, and then the French came in and colonized Haiti. Jamaica is also very important. Jamaica is important because of the Maroons. These were the brothers and sisters that got off the ships and ran into the mountains and established African cultures there after they escaped from the plantation. In fact, many of them didn't even work on the plantations, and some escaped and went into the mountains. And then we also know Jamaica from the emergence of Marcus Garvey, who came to this country at the turn of the century, and the age of Garvey was after the age of Washington, which ended around 1915, and then Garvey sort of took over from that point, went primarily through the 1920s. But Garvey traveled throughout the Caribbean. He traveled throughout South America, and he saw all of these African people there, and he asked the question, where's the black man's government? And he said, then he started thinking, he said he wanted to develop a powerful connection with Africa. He wanted to organize all people of African descent in South America, North America, Canada, and the Caribbean. Let's turn sort of quickly to Brazil.
Good, very good.
Brazil is a very interesting country.
It is.
Brazil has approximately 160 million people. Now, it's somewhat difficult to go into Brazil. In fact, if you look in the almanac and look under Brazil and look at the ethnic groups, you'll find that you only have Brazil, 6% of Brazilians self-identify as Africans. A lot of them see themselves as mestizos, as mulattoes, because in Brazil, there's a whole different configuration. They'd like for people to believe that they do not have a democracy based on race. But when you look at the color of the people, it is obvious that they are of African descent. So if you look at it from a color standpoint, there are about 60 million people of clearly of African descent, uncontaminated of African descent in Brazil.
In spite of what they might, how they might describe themselves as census takers.
Exactly, because the Portuguese had an assimilationist policy. It was okay to marry a Portuguese, and they had a different, and also had the Catholic Church was involved. But in the English-speaking countries, they practice strict segregation. So people in Jamaica and North America and Trinidad were not able to assimilate into the culture the way they did in places such as Brazil under the Portuguese. So that's why a lot of the people there in Brazil think of themselves more as Portuguese than they think of themselves as even indigenous Indians or Africans because of that strong identification with Portugal. And you will find the same phenomenon in a lot of the Spanish-speaking areas when they too were allowed to assimilate into the Spanish culture. So it's somewhat different from those of us that are in what we call Anglophone, or the English-speaking part of the world. The Francophones and those that speak Portuguese and Spanish have a whole different idea about their identity because they were allowed to assimilate.
And let me interrupt here, Dr. Al-Hadid, and to break for this commercial break, and we'll be back with you following this short commercial break. The chairperson